Now, people often ask me what's the difference between citizenship and residency. There's a big difference. Okay, that's not the same thing, but many people confuse these two concepts. Okay, so a citizenship usually is for life. Okay, so it is very difficult for a citizen of a certain country to be stripped of his or her own citizenship. Okay, that might happen in case of wars or military dictatorship, or refusal to serve the armed forces, or if you serve a foreign government, or if you want to naturalize in another country that doesn't allow dual citizenship, or your own country doesn't allow it. So it depends from country to country. But citizenship, when you acquire a citizenship, it basically is for life. Basically, okay, you have the right to live in that country. Okay, but you also have certain obligations towards the country. Okay, for example, in some cases, in some countries, voting is compulsory. Okay, uh, you must vote. Okay, so for example, in Argentina, in Brazil, in Australia, I also think in Belgium, um, you have not only the right, okay, to vote in elections, you also have the duty. Okay, and yeah, penalties, okay, do apply if you don't vote, if you don't have a valid reason, okay, to to not to vote, okay. While in another country, voting is not compulsory, okay. Here in Italy, you, you have the right to vote if you're a citizen, but it is not compulsory. The same thing in the United States, okay. So, the case of mandatory military service, some countries do have mandatory military service. For example, here in Italy, up to 20 years ago, I think, yeah, military service was mandatory, okay, for its male citizens, okay. They had to, yeah, serve the armed forces for 1 year, okay, unless they had health problems, or they were studying, okay, so they had valid reasons, okay, valid excuses, okay, valid motivations, okay. So if you're a citizen of a country, you also are entitled to a passport, okay. You need it for international travel, okay, and you can also receive diplomatic assistance, okay, from the embassy of your country, okay, of the country you're a citizen, the embassy or the consulate when you're abroad. For example, have some problems, or you lost your passport, you renew your passport, or a kid is born abroad, so you need to register, okay, him or her. So you have certain rights, you also have certain obligations, okay, when you're a citizen. It's like you're like sort of married to a country, okay, or to several countries if you are a citizen, if you have dual or multiple citizenship. Okay, so that's one thing. If you're a resident of a country, that's different. Okay, you have the right to live in that country. Okay, you, for example, are not entitled to a passport country or diplomatic assistance. Okay, you have basically the right to live in the country. Okay, if you're a resident, but for example, you don't have the right to vote. Okay, maybe in some countries you can vote in local elections. Okay, for example, in cities, or yeah, or in local elections, you can vote. It depends from country to country. But for example, for the national parliament, or yeah, for the president, maybe you're not a you cannot vote because you're not a citizen. Okay, so you can also naturalize, okay, in a certain country after living in that country for a specific number of years. Now, each country has its own rules, okay, and in some countries, by the way, you cannot naturalize. For example, China, okay, a foreigner uh, can only be a resident, will never naturalize, okay. So It's not, but yeah, most of the countries you can naturalize after living there for 3, 5, 10 years, whatever it is. Okay, you're not. Uh, it is not mandatory to naturalize, but most people do. Okay, so yeah, basically there's two different things. Okay, residency and citizenship. Okay, now in some countries also resident. If you're a resident, you you have to live, okay, in that country, okay, and pay taxes there and all those things. In other countries, you can have the residency, okay, but you basically you can live there, obviously, but you can just go there. In some countries, not many countries, but you can go there a couple of days, a couple of weeks, okay, every year or every 2 years, just in order to keep your residency, okay. So, but it depends from country to country, okay. The residency, by the way, it is easier for a government to, yeah, to to strip you your residency, okay, and to deport you, okay. They can deport you if you are a resident of a country, and for example, you commit crimes or you don't renew your residency permit, okay. So, well, if you're a citizen of a country, they can basically never deport you, okay. It is your home, okay. It's your home country, okay. So it depends. It depends, okay, from country to country. But basically, citizenship is for life. It is very difficult to strip someone of his own or her own citizenship, okay. That may happen in case of military dictatorships or wars, or yeah, in some cases that may happen, but yeah, it's very difficult, okay. And by the way, renouncing a citizenship, it is more difficult than, yeah, renouncing a residency, okay. um, so there's two different things, okay. Now, I hope you this video helps you understand better, okay. So thanks for watching, see you next time, bye.